Hey, welcome to WVU Football Going Deep. I'm glad you're here. Whether or not you're going to be glad you're here remains to be seen. And regardless of that, I am for us posting either way. Let me just go ahead and say, hey, if you do like it, please subscribe, comment, share, click the thumbs up and the notification bell. Thank you very much. Here we go. Now, I don't want to call it big news, but the stir comes because at his press conference on Monday, Neal Brown fumbled what was probably a completely unexpected question. Now, from a fan perspective, I'm sure it looks like a very easy question. But that's because fans think about being fans. They think about things from their perspective. That makes things a lot more, obvious. Now, you ask a fan a football question like, why can't you run the 2-minute offense the whole game? And most of them, or a lot of them, will fumble it. I know that because I've watched them fumble it all over the internet. Time after time. Now, Neal Brown, for 30 minutes or thereabouts, had been talking about football from a technical, if basic, perspective. And all the days leading up to that, he'd been thinking about football and talking with his coaches about football on a much more technical basis. And then this question just comes up, what do you tell the fans? Okay, it wasn't a good answer. Wasn't nearly as bad as people are making it out to be. And go out and try public speaking and try answering a question that, it wasn't intended to be a gotcha question, but that doesn't keep it from being a gotcha question. You ask a question from out of nowhere that requires a complete shift in perspective, and a lot of people are going to fumble it. So, not a great answer. Not really a big deal. It's not as big a deal as fans and media are making it. Meanwhile, how about we talk some real stuff? Stuff that fans really should be a bit more interested in, like injury updates. And it's not what we'd really like to be hearing. Now, Crandall was out this past week due to injury, hopefully back for Kansas. Burks has actually been fighting lingering injuries. Not sure if this still relates to why he went down on the sideline a few weeks ago or not. Didn't specify. But he has been playing very limited snaps, and he has not been playing Burks football. Now we know why. He's still iffy for this week. And of course, he's the most experienced defensive back. He is a major leader back there. Anthony Wilson would be second, but he's essentially the same age, but only in his second year at WVU. And the other guys playing back there are in their first year. That might or might not be why we've had, the more recent communication issues like cost a touchdown this past week. Now let's see how they are trying to cover Burks. I'll get to in a minute. Trying to criminy. T.J. Jackson. He is questionable for this week. Coach Brown described it as a kind of weird or odd lower leg issue. Not expected to practice much this week. Have to see what happens come game day. That is a major loss. I'm not sure when it happened. I don't know if he had to leave the game or if it just affected his play. Jaden Bray has been out with injury. I think he is still iffy for this week. That is why we haven't seen much of him. Luckily, we did get Robinson back this week, and he picked up a couple of receptions. Now, as for replacing Burks, they're using Carrico and Tarnu. Now, I think Carrico probably played Spear a bit in camp. Tarnu, I don't know, but Tarnu. I mean, they said Tarnu is having to learn some new terminology that's specific to the Spear. They're pleased with how he's handling it, but it does mean we have two guys playing Spear who were not necessarily intended to play it when the season began. Now, as for Jennings, it's nothing against him that he's not, just replacing Burks. He is a talented freshman, but he's a freshman. He's not ready. And that probably is both, the weight, strength, and, just understanding the system at this level. So, injuries are an issue. Related to that, we get to Brandon Yates' hand injury that caused, according to the count by Brown and Scott, 11 bad snaps, 5 of which were critical. Now, people are saying, okay, why, well, somebody posted, a comment, if a player's hurt, you get them out. Well, hurt covers a pretty dang wide range, actually. I mean, if you just say every player that's hurt, you pull, wouldn't be anybody left to play. So you're trying to deal with how badly hurt. I don't know if they tried to adjust how it was taped or not. I am guessing they talked it over with him. They worked on it. They, tried to determine, how to keep the bad snaps from happening. His replacement, Landon Livingston. First thing Yates is a starter because he is currently better than Livingston. Livingston has done well in limited play. But also Iowa State, once the ball is snapped, their defense isn't really extra complex. But they, for years, have been very good at concealing what's coming. It's going to be a relatively simple approach, but which simple approach? And got to figure Yates has the experience to make better calls facing that defense. It is also worth noting that Livingston did play the last 12 plays, which would have been the last drive and part or all of the previous drive. And yes, that's late in the game. It also, if he played the last 2 drives, he played a quarter of the offensive drives because they only had 8 drives. Iowa State had 9. Both teams kind of ate up clock so that neither of them got a lot of drives. But Iowa State did get a short field a couple of times, and that helped them score-wise. Coming up, Kansas State, another night game. I think it's also on Fox. I am not down on the team. I've said that before. I understand what's happening. I have some theories about why. They are theories or guesses because I don't have access to all of the information that the coaches have. And that's the thing, fans tend to forget. Coach can't spend all their time explaining exactly to fans all of the factors involved and why. And even if they did explain it to us, we weren't at practice. Might or might not have understood the significance of what we were seeing if we were there. So I listen to what the coaches say. I don't just take it, with the assumption. Well, I certainly don't assume they're telling the whole truth. There's no time for that, and lots of reasons why they would not go into everything. But, does it seem reasonable? Does it match what I'm seeing? Does it match what's happened before? And I try to figure out, the underlying issues. And I've said before with Garrett Green, he's going through a learning issue. People keep saying he can't be a drop back passer. That's crap. He can. He has been. He's just not consistent enough. It's complicating his decision process because he has to consider more factors this year than he had to consider last year. Now, this year, that means it's throwing off particularly some of his decisions on pass or run. Last year, it kind of eliminated the option of throwing certain short passes because he just didn't throw them well. But that had its own problems. That had to be corrected. We couldn't just keep things where they were, and it wouldn't be fair to Green to kind of restrict him. We have to try to let him and help him grow the best he can. The bumps didn't get ironed out as soon as hoped. Defense, again, I think 6 new defensive backs, 3 or 4 of whom are coming, at least 4 of whom are coming out of having played extensively, like 4 years in a different system. 3 of whom came in late. That has not gelled as quickly as hoped. Last week, they actually did play pretty well. Coverage was usually good. Not good enough. They would give up 7 yards when Iowa State needed 6 for a first down. That's better than giving up 15 yards, but it is not good enough. But it just kind of means they need to shave a little more off of things. They're not playing quite fast enough, to put the hit on when the ball arrives. I think that is one of the next steps, hopefully this week. The tackling has usually been good. It was not good the first half against Iowa State. That was an issue. And you get the busted coverages. And it shouldn't happen. Lots of things in life shouldn't happen. They do happen. Hey, there was a famous bumper sticker to that effect. And I still expect things to get better. Now, am I happy? Because people think that if you don't gripe and groan about the problems, you must be happy with the results. And that's nonsense. That's stupid. That's ignorant. I don't know anybody who is happy with how things have gone. And that includes the coaches and players, especially the seniors. Dang it. They're the ones that are, getting the short end of the stick out of this, not the fans. The fans can, they can come or go. It's up to them. For the seniors, this is it. And for somebody like Burks, this was, going to be their big year. He called it contract year, and here he's spending it injured. But can't get a red shirt out of it. Green, Coach Brown said, he's really playing not to determine whether or not he goes to the NFL. He will. But does he go as a quarterback or, somebody wanting a receiver? And having trouble making the transition, it's going to make it tough for him to, get drafted as a potential quarterback or to even get a look at that. So, feel bad for the seniors because, dang it, it's also some of the seniors who are having, some of the problems. Again, for Burks, it's injury. That's hurting the team. For Green, it's, a learning curve. That's hurting the team. But that's also the nature of college football because, you have this very limited time frame to develop and play. Except in the case of guys like Cam Rising, who gets 7 freaking years, and Rising still not, he's either injured or not playing great. So, anyway, it sucks that we aren't, perfect. I'm not happy. I mean, keep in mind, I said 9 wins was the floor. Fully expected, 10 wins and thought there was a, decent shot at 11. I wouldn't rule out a perfect season, at least, through the conference championship. Well, that went down the toilet pretty quickly. But this team is progressing. This team is working. You've got fans out there saying the team's not straining. I don't believe that for a minute. It may not look the same as the beginning of last year, but this team is trying. Sometimes they're trying too hard. That's part of Green's problem. And then this Iowa State game, Remack was, just had a terrible PFF score, and he's good. Malone, bad score, didn't, basically, Milam was the only offensive lineman who scored well. I think all the rest were below average. And up until this game, the average score for the line had been the best in the country, PFF score. So it does come under the crap happens. The players know they have to play better, they have to prepare better, they have to do the small things that they know they're supposed to do and that they have done. Some people keep saying it's because it's a big game. I'm not convinced. I may be wrong. I've said that more than once in my videos. But I see deeper patterns that I like. I'm a big guy on patterns, and some of them are things you can't really put a finger on. I understand why things weren't good through 2022. I predicted the turnaround in 2023 because those issues had been fixed through attrition. this year took me by surprise so far. I still expect, improvement at least game by game. Hopefully it will be enough each week to come out on top. All right. I'm rambling now, but I did have a few things there that particularly wanted to say. I appreciate those who came by to listen. Greatly appreciate those who stayed to listen a little longer than the rest. So I will be doing a preview game about the Kansas State game. Reckon most of the questions will be the same as usual. Don't know about the answers, but we'll see. Thanks for dropping in. So long.